What's up everybody? Let's jump into some more Malifaux lore. This time it's going to be Brewmaster of the Bayou. Now as always, this video will contain spoilers for all of the stories involving the Brewmaster, and there will be a list of the relevant stories in the description below. If you've been enjoying this series, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, but let's jump into it. The Brewmaster is a gremlin who comes from over the faraway mountains. He quickly gained a reputation in the Bayou as the best brewer of all different kinds of alcohol. He became so popular among the gremlins that no gremlin would dare oppose him for fear that their people would be more loyal to the Brewmaster than to them. Lucky for them, the Brewmaster does not have ambitions of taking over the Bayou. The Brewmaster is summoned to a meeting of all of the gremlin leaders by Zoraida. When he arrives, he is met with reverence from Sommer, and the two exchange tips on their alcohol making. As the other gremlin leaders arrive, several of them start to argue, and a fight almost breaks out. However, Zoraida interrupts and calls their attention. She explains to them that she brought them together because a war is coming, and warns the gremlins that if they don't stop fighting with each other and unite, that they'll be destroyed. Sommer exclaims that he refuses to work with the LaCroix, and Zoraida threatens him, explaining that none of them will survive if they don't do as she says. Reluctantly, the gremlins all agree. Zoraida is trying to get information from Von Schill concerning some Arcanist cargo that he smuggled. Her plan is to have Sommer participate in an illegal drinking game called Bullet in order to get the mercenary drunk enough to spill the information. She asks the Brewmaster to accompany Sommer as his second, and he agrees. When he shows up to meet Sommer and Zoraida, Sommer shows him his usual extreme reverence, and Brewmaster tells him to stop brown-nosing. The two, along with apprentice Wesley, make their way to the city under cover of darkness. Several moon shinobi guide their path, popping out of the shadows to subdue anybody who seems like they might object to the gremlins' presence. When they arrive at the secret location, they are able to convince the guards to let them into the game by showing them a hefty bag of money. Once inside, the other human players are surprised to see gremlins in attendance, though Von Schill doesn't say much. As the game starts, Sommer and Brewmaster have to try some of the humans' alcohol, and they are both disgusted with how bland and tasteless it is. When the humans have to try the Brewmaster's shine, they can barely get it down, as it is much stronger than what humans are used to. Sommer tries on several occasions to engage Von Schill in a conversation, but the mercenary is very tight-lipped. As the game winds down and the other players bow out from being too drunk, Brewmaster encourages Sommer to participate in one final hand, handing him a pearl from his pocket to use as his bet, as Sommer is already out of money. When it comes time for Von Schill to drink, Brewmaster pours him a glass, as Sommer contemplates how he'll be able to stay in the game long enough to get Von Schill drunk enough to get the information out of him. After Von Schill drinks, Brewmaster casually asks him where he hid the Arcanist cargo, and Von Schill tells him the location. Sommer is shocked, as the Brewmaster and Wesley quickly rush him out of the building. Sommer asks him what happened, and the Brewmaster replies that he gave Von Schill a truth serum. Sommer then asks why he didn't just give the truth serum to begin with, and the Brewmaster answers that he hasn't played a game of Bullet in a while, and he likes to drink. On the eve of the Chugmugs celebration, a gremlin holiday that involves a lot of drinking, one of Captain Zip's sky pirates, who is frustrated at being posted on guard duty and not allowed to go to the party, decides to steal all the shine and ruin the celebration. In the process, he gets into a scuffle with a pig and accidentally blows up the entire stockpile of alcohol, only making away with 12 barrels. Brewmaster sees this and follows the gremlin, who's already regretting what he's done, as he hears the other gremlins crying in sadness. Brewmaster explains to the gremlin that he invented the Chugmugs celebration in order to bring the gremlin families together in peace and stop them from fighting temporarily. The thief expresses his regret for his actions, and Brewmaster explains that they might be able to salvage the situation. The two bring the 12 barrels back to the party grounds, and Zip yells at his subordinate, threatening to feed him to the first mate. However, Brewmaster silences Zip and explains that this sky pirate has saved the Chugmug celebration. While the Brewmaster was away from the Bayou on a mission to collect ingredients for his brewing process, he makes a stop off at the town of Promise to meet with his 10 Thunders contacts. They give him some of the ingredients that he needs and praise him for getting in the good graces of many of the gremlin families. They then supply him with a large cache of weapons and instruct him to start giving them out to the more violent gremlin families in order to start encouraging infighting, as well as to help them carry out operations against the Guild and the Union. Brewmaster accepts this mission and thinks about it on his way back to the Bayou, ultimately deciding to deliver the weapons to the Thang family, a group of gremlins who are known for their antagonism towards the 10 Thunders. After Governor General Marlowe takes power, all of the gremlin families start to hear reports that the Guild are being more aggressive towards their kind. They decide to have a meeting in order to address the situation. Zoraida attempts to start the meeting, but Sommer points out that this is a meeting for gremlins, and she is not a gremlin. As Zoraida is about to respond, the crowd takes Sommer's side, and Zoraida leaves. Sommer speaks in front of the gathering and suggests that they choose their own leader, a gremlin general. He of course recommends himself, and violence erupts in the crowd as a result. Brewmaster suddenly yells, "Enough!" and everyone calms down. As the discussion resumes, Zip speaks up and explains that his engineers told him about a system called democracy, where the humans vote to choose their leader. The gremlins have a mixed reaction to this idea, and Sommer turns to Brewmaster and asks him what he thinks. Brewmaster says he thinks it's a good idea as long as everyone is willing to go along with the outcome. They decide to come back a month later to hold a vote. In the meantime, each gremlin family is trying to come up with a plan, and Sommer decides that since he doesn't think the other families will vote for him, he should try to get them to vote for someone who he can control. They return to the meeting place a month later, and the Brewmaster organizes a voting system where each gremlin will write down the name of their selection and drop it in a barrel. His apprentice Wesley writes down the names for the many gremlins who are illiterate. A full day passes before the vote is completed and counted, and it results in a three-way tie between Ophelia, the Brewmaster, and Lenny Jones, Sommer's dim-witted son. All of the gremlins in attendance accuse Sommer of cheating, and Zip, who is disappointed at only getting one vote, announces that he and his crew's votes will all be revoked, and he leaves. After recalculating the vote without theirs, Ophelia and Lenny are still tied. Many gremlins declare that they will not follow a girl, and Brewmaster asks Ophelia to step down, as they need a leader who all gremlins will follow. Ophelia is disappointed that he feels this way, but then Ma Tucket speaks up and declares she would like to change her vote from Ophelia to Lenny, and Lenny is declared the victor. Everyone is shocked, but after a few minutes of thinking about it, they all cheer. Brewmaster sends 3 Tanuki to the Little Kingdom in order to steal a sample of a new drink that the fermented river monks are brewing. The Tanuki sneak into the temple, standing on each other's heads and wearing an overcoat to disguise themselves as a human. When they find where the drink is stored, there are 3 gremlins there already in the process of stealing it. A fight breaks out, but before long they get caught by the monks and are just barely able to grab a sample and fight their way past to escape through the sewer. The Tanuki decide to sample the drink before giving it to the Brewmaster. We later learn that the Brewmaster was actually raised by the Ten Thunders, who trained him to become an undercover agent and manipulate the other gremlins. However, after spending time with the gremlins, the Brewmaster grew sympathetic towards them and decided to stand against his former masters, though he expects the Ten Thunders to come for him one day and he will be ready. Brewmaster is inventorying his brewing ingredients when a gremlin enters and turns in the monk brew that he had sent him to steal. Moments later, a Tanuki enters and does the same, and Brewmaster is suspicious as neither of these missions was likely to succeed, let alone both. He considers how his relationship with the Ten Thunders has soured recently, as the weapons he gave to the Tongs were recently used in an attack against the people of Promise, a town known to be affiliated with the Ten Thunders. Brewmaster tastes the monk's shine and comments to Wesley that he intends to copy it and even improve on it. Later, the Brewmaster and Wesley attend a brewing competition against Popcorn Turner and hosted by Popcorn's apprentice, Cooper Jones. Not long after the competition starts, a moon shinobi appears and gives Brewmaster a warning that the Ten Thunders are out looking for him. He tells Turner that he must leave temporarily, and Turner sends Cooper as well as a whiskey golem to go along with him. The troop head through the bayou until they encounter several members of the Ten Thunders. Their leader identifies herself as a member of the Katanaka family and accuses Brewmaster of being a thief and a traitor. Jones taunts the woman, to the horror of the other gremlins, and Brewmaster casually and slowly retrieves some glass bottles and approaches the woman, offering her some of his prized shine to forget about the whole situation. This angers her, and she threatens the Brewmaster, and he suggests that they just have a drink and forget about the whole situation. Cooper then gets impatient and ignites her torch, and a fight breaks out. Several of the Ten Thunders members engage Cooper and the whiskey golem, as the leader and her henchmen engage the Brewmaster and apprentice Wesley. They use their drunken master fighting style to deftly avoid all of the incoming blows, using the enemy's momentum and power against them. Several Thunder's archers appear in the tree line and fire a volley at them, and in response Brewmaster gives the order and several moon shinobi drop down on top of them. A fire starts as the alcohol that has been leaking out of the whiskey golem ignites, and a Lotus Eater gets in close with the hulking construct and manages to take it down. As he celebrates his victory, Brewmaster deflects a blow from their leader's polearm, and it impales the man. The Katanaka woman, angry at what she has done, charges at the Brewmaster in a rage, as one of her Thunder archers takes a shot at him. Brewmaster jumps out of the way, and the arrow catches the woman in the chest, killing her. The few remaining Thunders flee the battlefield as the Brewmaster orders his moon shinobi that there will be no survivors. They make their way back to the competition and find that their brew has been spoiled as it is overcooked. Brewmaster congratulates Turner on his victory, and Turner replies that he didn't win fairly and asks for a rematch. So that's it for Brewmaster, one man's traitor and another man's hero. I'm curious to see if he's going to butt heads with the Ten Thunders more in the future. I bet it's not the end of that story. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what master from Malifaux you'd like to see me do next. And please like this video and subscribe for more. And thanks for watching.